Let's welcome our closing keynote speaker, Aklilu Fikresilassie. He's the director of Thriving Resilient Cities at WRI Africa. With over 20 years of experience in urban development, environmental policy, and program management. Aklilu has worked across both governmental and non-governmental sectors, so he brings a wealth of knowledge. Before joining WRI, he was with UN Habitat in Ethiopia and was a planning specialist for UNDP in South Sudan. He also teaches at University College Dublin and researches urbanization, environmental issues, and water resources. We are excited to have him share insights with us. So, that's your floor now.
Thank you very much for having me in this very important dialogue and topic, I would say it that way. Before I dive into this, by the way, very good greetings from Kenya, where I'm based now. So before I dive into my topic, I would like really to flag some issues. The World Resources Institute, for those who would like to know about the WRI, the World Resources Institute. It's a global organization, global institute that works towards the betterment of people, nature, and climate. Of course, focusing on three systems: food, land, water, energy, and as well as cities as a system. My today's intervention is basically on Africa. So I would like to really highlight like urban, before I jump into the water resilience, I would like to flag why I choose Africa, why Africa is also at the center of urban water resilience. You can see from this figure now, Africa is really rapidly urbanizing. You can imagine about 1.5 billion inhabitants by 2050, which is almost by far bigger than the current population, the entire current population of Africa. And when Africa urbanizes, it's not just fast or rapid. The way its characteristics is very much related with lack of planning. And that it means lack of most of the cities are not planned, meaning it is leaving most of residents vulnerable to water-related risks and others. And if you layer the number of people that are living in informal settlements, like 50% of the people living in informal settlements, not just in the informal settlements. Those informal settlements are basically located along river bodies. You can imagine the risks attached to those settlements. And this is not just a dark process. I can also see some opportunities. One is, the latecomers opportunity, because we are just urbanizing. Africa is urbanizing. So the opportunities of using better tools and an approach is open here. And the one more opportunity is that most of the investments in the cities that require or that address urban water resilience are not yet made. So that's also an opportunity to intervene. So if you see the situation that are really very much related to urban resilience in African cities, I just took some cities just for you to see the seriousness of the issues. When we say in WRI urban water resilience, it's about dealing the three dimensions. One is too much part of it, too much water in the cities, and too little where most of African cities are suffering, and too polluted. So these are the three areas that WRI tries to address. If you see the situation now in Accra being like most of infrastructure being washed away, and the pollution in Nairobi and other African cities. And at the same time, if you see the partners that are working in those urban resilience issues are not coordinated. By the way, WRI carried out a thorough analysis regarding the partners that are working on urban water resilience, and most of them are not coordinated. And the finance that are channeled toward this urban water resilience are also limited. Look at this picture. I use this picture as a kind of showcase. You see the river here, and people are buying river. And you can also see the suppliers of the river. These are water tankers selling river water. According to so many researches, these people who are buying water here, the people that are living in informal settlement pays by far higher price for water than the rest of city dwellers. So in WRI, we carried out serious and thorough analysis, urban water in changing resilience in a changing urban context. These are the four priority areas identified. Actually, the fifth one is the lack of coordination among partners. So planning is the key. Prioritization of the most vulnerable people is the key because of those informal settlements and lack of planning. And again, finance is the key because it's little amount of finance goes to the urban water resilience. What makes Africa specific here is that most people assume that consider just the number of people that are living low level of urbanization. So finance has to go to the rural areas, but that is not right. Lots of people, the vulnerability is really high in cities. So the next one, so with WRI's urban water resilience, we managed to look at, go deep into about 6 cities to help cities to move from just water supply in cities toward this water resilience. What does water supply mean? Most of cities in Africa, they just try to address the water supply issues without looking at what is going on at the source of the water. So that's a key element in Africa. And then the tool that is introduced by WRI and its partner is about water resilience, helping the cities to withstand the shock that is coming from water that is flood and all those, and improving water supply in like of affordable manner. At the same time, looking at the entire watershed dimension. If you look this figure now, this is the Addis Ababa city. Most of the water that feeds the city comes from outside the administrative boundary of the city or Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa is just a case. Most of African cities share the same agenda. I was also following up some of the presenters and keynotes and all those. They were mentioning the need for collaboration, not just between, I would like to really underline that it's not just among the partners, but also the settlements or different districts that are located around the cities. There is a need to look beyond the political administration and plan according to, prepare a plan that addresses all administrative boundaries. With this really analysis, like looking at urban water resilience initiative of WRI, looks at the whole urban system with the city region thinking, not just political boundary, or administrative boundary, but also the whole natural boundary that goes beyond political boundary, that follows the nature, that follows the entire watershed. Through that, we managed to do this analysis in 6 African cities in 3 countries, Ethiopia, Rwanda, and South Africa. The output of this report is about critically looking at the whole system and identifying priority areas for the investment, priority areas for the actions. That really worked hard because if you see the capacity at local level of understanding the whole water trajectory is really minimum. Even if there is a capacity in the cities, the possibilities of looking beyond the political boundaries, the possibilities of looking at the cumulative benefits, the cumulative effect of all partners is very minimal. So this urban water resilience initiative of WRI helped the cities to identify key priority areas for action. At the same time, based on that really rigorous analysis, one of the areas that was identified was this siloed approach among the partners. So WRI managed, actually together with its partners, to establish broader coalition or a platform where all stakeholders could come together, join hands, and act with a kind of synergy to address the urban water resilience initiative. So this is really key element as we move forward. What about the financial dimension? For finance, because if we fail to get finance right, then the whole actions identified may not work. So there is also a need to collaborate, create a kind of proper financial mechanism to address urban water resilience. Through the WRS Urban Water Resilience Initiative, as I said, we managed to identify key priority areas, investment need, and really key projects that can be converted into fully fledged fundable proposals so that the cities can start acting not just within their political boundary, but also within their city region, an action that goes beyond political boundary. If you see the activities that has already been identified through this exercise, most of them are really related to nature-based solutions. It's about looking at the source and then addressing that source of water through nature-based solutions. So to wrap up my really talking points here, there is really a huge need for the collaboration or collaborative approach, bringing all hands together, agree on the action points, and then address, help the cities to transition from water supply to water resilience. And at the same time, there is also a need to use evidence. That is actually our core as WRI, data. And without that, we cannot reach out to even the planning exercise and all those things. Data, proper planning and action, then followed by really collaboration and finance. These are really key areas if we want to really drive cities toward this urban water resilience. This is what I would like to really share with you. I would like really to thank you all. And if there are any questions, I'm here to respond. Thank you very much.
Aklilu, thank you very much for this presentation, because it's the first presentation that we have today from Africa, and it's very interesting to see your point of view. Today we've heard we are now mainstream talking about blue-green solution, and so you were more talking about we need to do a lot of work, and you have some ideas, some strategy, but what kind of actors do you need for the implementation of all the solution of the strategy you were thinking about?
Thank you very much. Of course, there are diverse actors. One, the local authorities. They are the ones who does everything, the city administrations and the authorities that are located next to city administration. It's like a regional thinking. Regional, when I say not like a continent, like Africa as a region, I'm talking about city region, city and its surrounding. So then the local authorities that are based there. And again, NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and learning institutions like universities, local universities and international universities that can really analyze and help, to understand the context. I know even during the mainstream, I saw lots of models going on, lots of approach that can be done at local level. Actually, we can bring those experiences to local level. So academia, NGOs, and again, financial institutions, they are also key. And at the same time, the private companies, they are also very much interested. You can also see in my figure there are also even small scale companies that are supplying water. And there are also small scale companies that could really potentially restore the upper stream. So it's like local authorities, NGOs, and entrepreneurship, like all kind of private companies and international organization, that financial institution. You could name a lot. So it's about bringing all those actors that have, urban water resilience or water resilience in the cities or the agenda of urban water resilience in the city. It's about bringing all stakeholders into a kind of agreed platform. The very good example is our platform, the platform that I presented here, a platform that we call Aqua Platform, African Cities Water Adaptation platform that brings like about 30 different stakeholders that are working in the water field. I don't know whether I responded to your question.
Yes, that's really the answer to my question. And concerning this platform, how do you think it's possible to ensure really a long-term sustainable projects and to ensure that the change can be reached?
By the way, the establishment of stakeholder, particularly having city authorities and local authorities on board, local learning institutions on board, is an assurance for sustainability, by the way. Because when you bring those stakeholders, that's actually how WRI also operates. When you engage them, when you bring them on board, and when universities work together, when international NGOs come together, then that builds confidence. In most cases, we do modeling, we do collect data at national level, at global level, at those. Then if we ignore even those analyses, if we ignore local authorities, and then getting the kind of trust about our tool, getting a trust about, the model that you use, getting a trust about the finance that we bring will be difficult. So this platform and engagement, it's not just establish and go. It's about to make sure that platform works. It's about to make sure that, this platform continues, like with a dialogue, with, continuity. So it's a mechanism to assure sustainability by itself. It's not just, establish and go. That's what we are doing as WRI. Now it has a secretariat, it has the kind of, periodical gathering or convening, then discussing on the data, discussing on agenda, discussing how and where, who is doing what and where. This is also, to avoid duplication of efforts. 100 partners working in a specific city without understanding who is doing what, that's a chaos and duplication of efforts. So platform is an assurance for sustainability. This is really clear.
Thank you. Then I will have a very, very last question for you, but I think I would like to ask you more something about the population. So, so you have in your urban centers, you have more than 50% of the population living in informal settlements. And how is it possible for you to address this issue? How can you prioritize the needs of of this population and to take them into account and to take them into the change for the resilient city?
Yes, that's a good one. That's actually not special for African cities. There are some Asian cities, Latin America now transitioning a bit. Informality is attributed to not just, other factors, but like something housing. Cities in Africa, as I said, they are not as such planned. So when people come to the city, cities have no capacity to offer the housing and at the right place. That's why people go to the informal settlement. No one would like to live in informal settlement or like in slums. They are pushed to be there, and the kind of the alternative that they have, like to settle, is mostly water bodies. If you go to Addis Ababa and other African cities, you can see. And the latest flooding in Kenya, if you see how many people, the property of how many people being washed away, particularly the people who are living in informal settlement, is really immense. You cannot measure it. So when I say addressing the kind of the challenges of urban water resilience is related with planning. So planning is not just water. To plan for water, then you have to look at the entire urban system. That's what I'm saying. So even with our urban water resilience, the first thing at the core of the analysis is understanding the entire water system and its governance. The second one is looking at aligning that with the city's plan. That means the entire land use and other infrastructure and all those things. So it is a kind of connected. So if you understand where the people are located, and if you see that they are really vulnerable, then there must be some action that to be done with the local authorities to discuss with. So that has to be done. I know that there are lots of agendas highly politicized because of this, bulldozing people and taking unnecessary actions. These are really very much unacceptable. These are not acceptable to do that. But this all has to be done properly with data and all. So it's about planning with the holistic approach to address urban water resilience. Water is not just a standalone or a kind of an island within the urban system. We have to look at a city as a system, the system that goes beyond boundary. And if we get the plan right, then the actions can follow. Then if we get the plan right, then we can also inform the policies of, relocating people, the possibilities for compensations, and dialogue with the people on how to deal with those things. So will happen. So that's what I would like to reflect. So it has to be done based on data and based on proper policies.
Thank you very much. So it looks like you have a really good plan with your AQUA organization. So I wish you all the best with this organization. It looks like a very, very nice solution, and I'm looking forward to see what will happen with that. So thank you very much.